And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adult Small Business Owners and Entrepreneurs, where we teach you how to go from well to well off to wealthy. I am your host, best-selling author, Sudan Long, and today is Monday. Hey, man, starting a new month, starting a new half of the year. If you weren't happy with the first half of the year, make sure you go to growandrich.com and click the Just Get Started button and get a free 30 with me. So again, if you weren't happy with the first half of the year, meaning that you feel like you should have gotten more sales, you feel like your SEO wasn't working as well as you thought it should, you feel like your customer retention plan wasn't working like you thought it should, you feel like your people weren't doing as good as you thought they should, man, go on over to growandrich.com. That's right, growandrich.com. And click the Just Get Started button. And what will happen is, man, I'll get an email from you. I'll send you an email back. We'll set up a time. And we'll literally look at all the opportunities you have within your business that you could take advantage of to possibly grow your business and get the results that you want for this second half of the year. Because, again, right now, summertime, and that winter money, you're going to need it. But you make your winter money in the summertime. So you should have your cash reserves. You should have your emergency money. You should have your good people in place now, so that when you get to Christmas time, everything's rolled out, everything's running smooth, everything's clicking. But in the meantime, like I said before, it is Monday, and what we're talking about today, man, is how to get more money without having to get more customers. One of the things that people always ask me is, how do I get such great results for everyday people? Because I've helped multiple companies go over $1 million. I've helped multiple small business owners win awards. And without spending, and let's just keep it real, without spending as much money as the competition, without spending as much money as the big boys, without spending as much money as people who they meet with recommend that they spend. They spend a lot of time having to fend off people. That's like a side effect of doing business with me, is that you spend a lot of time fighting off people who want to do business with you because you become extremely successful. Just a little downside that maybe, you might want to experience, or you might not. But anyway, people always ask me how I do it. And the first thing I want you to understand is, before we go any further, how I do it is a direct reflection of something that I learned from being in education. Okay. What I learned from being in education is that the longer I keep a customer, the more opportunities I have to sell to that customer. For example, if you are said university, customer comes and maybe they decide they want to get their associate's degree. Okay. But then somewhere along the lines, they realize they want a bachelor's. Okay. So now they get a bachelor's degree. So you keep them 4 years. But in the process of that 4 years, they got a sister, cousin, brother, neighbor, or somebody who really looks up to them and decides that they want to go to school where they go to school. So now you've gotten a student to go from a 2-year program to a 4-year program. Plus, because they were there long enough, somebody who wasn't a customer now has grown into a customer and wants to go there as well. So now, instead of that customer being worth, whatever an associate's degree costs, let's just say an associate's degree is $20,000. Now that same customer is no longer worth $20,000. That customer is worth double that, because they got the bachelor's degree. And we'll say a bachelor's degree costs $40 just so we could, $40,000, just so we can keep the math simple. So now one customer went from 20 to 40. They brought us a customer who wasn't in their buying window when we first enrolled the first student. So now that person gave us 40. So instead of that customer being worth $20,000, now that customer is worth $80,000. And if I do a good job, and I got other programs for them to go into, maybe my teacher's program or my master's program or my medical program or my occupational therapy or physical therapy program, my law school. Now that person says, well, I've been going here all this time. It makes no sense to go anywhere else. They got the best PT program in the city or PT program in the state. I'm gonna get my physical therapy degree too. So now let's just say that degree costs another $60,000. So now you got $140,000 from one customer because they got 3 degrees and they brought you one. But let's just say in the time that they're getting their master's degree, somebody else that they know is like, oh, well, I'm looking for a place to get my master's. So now they bring another customer. Now that customer gives you $60,000 for their master's degree. So now that same customer is worth, what, $200,000? So we've taken one customer from 20 to 200,000. Now, if you're sitting at home, what could that do for your business? To be able to take one customer and make them worth 5 times as much, 10 times as much. What other doors would that open up for you? If you got one customer and they gave you 5 times what that first sale cost over the course of the next 5 or 6 years, how would that help you? Now, what it's done for my clients is, hey, man, it's allowed them to get cribs built from the ground up. It's allowed them to buy multiple vehicles. It's allowed them to buy real estate. It's allowed them to buy buildings. It's allowed them to get into other industries. Not to mention the travel, the cars, the jewelry, the Gucci slippers, the respect that they've been able to garner as being a well-off, wealthy business owner. The books, the speaking engagements, the tours that they've been able to go on because they get money and people want to know how they got it. Now you go from just being a business owner to being a business expert and people want to hear from you. Well, tell me how you did it. What was it? Where was your $1 million move? When did everything change? And the reality is when they hired somebody like me who taught them what lifetime value of a customer was. We could talk about the hustle and the grind and all that stuff, but lifetime value of a customer is what changed their lives. Now, that part is true. That changed their lives. Now, you got to have some hustle to go with it because at the end of the day, there's me doing my part and there's you doing your part. So shout out to everybody I've ever worked with who worked hard enough to make this thing work for the both of us. But again, what would it do for you if, let's just say, your first sale was $20? Okay. But now you got that person on the mailing list. Now you got that person on some type of reoccurring subscription, something or other, and it gives them a reason to buy and you another $20 every 30 to 90 days. So now you didn't get a new customer, but that customer's value just doubled by $20, $30, $40. And if you keep them long enough, now you got an opportunity to offer incentive programs for them to bring other people, friends and family. For my people who shop friends and family, the reason they give you friends and family is so that they can recruit you as new customers. So that they can bring people in the store who wouldn't normally come into the store. Now you might say, well, but I only come when it's a sale. That's true. You only come when it's a sale. But here's the thing: when you got that, you came through the door, you bought at this sale. That was a sale they wouldn't have otherwise got for something that was already on sale. And now they get an opportunity to offer you a credit card. Now they get an opportunity to offer you subscription. Now they get an opportunity to walk you around the store, and maybe you see something that's not on sale that you need, or you realize that there were things within this store that you didn't know they had, which is now giving them the opportunity to build more into the initial sale. Go back to when I was in retail. Retail is a good example of this. So, customer comes into the store. It's friends and family. Okay. So you get a shoe. All right. Well, if you're going to get the shoe, you might as well get something to go with the shoe. So now we get you a t-shirt to go with your shoe. If you're going to get the shoe and the t-shirt, might as well get some socks. So now you got a fly pair of socks and a t-shirt, but if you got a fly pair of socks and a t-shirt, might as well get these shorts to go with it. So now you got a whole outfit. Yeah, but why don't you go and grab these wristbands or this headband or this ball cap? And if you're going to get all that, you might as well get you some cleaner. No, not one cleaner. You're going to need at least two. You're going to need one for the house. You're going to need one for the car. So now you got two cleaners, a bag of socks, a shoe, a t-shirt, and some shorts. When the reason you came in there was to get the shoe. So I've taken a $150 sale and turned it into a $500 sale. And then when you walk out, you got this complete fit on you. You look hella fly. And guess what? Now somebody wants to know, man, where you get that at? I got a guy. So then they send their people to me. Then I fit them up. So now I don't have just one. I got 3 sales for $500. And the rest of the people in the store, they running around, hey, you need some help. Hey, you need some help. Hey, you need some help. Meanwhile, I'm posted up watching videos with people walking up to me like, hey, man, my guy sent me in here. How much easier was that for me? So other guys, they tired, they exhausted. I'm up 1,500 and I barely had to move. How would that help you? If you could be in a situation where you and your business were getting easy sales because the people you helped were sending other people. And not only were they sending other people, they were coming back again and again and again and again. So now I know you're saying, well, yeah, I get that part, but how do I do it? Okay. Well, here's how you start to build your retention program. Now I know people are going to go with you get a subscription based thing so you can get the passive income, but you still have to create something. Again, you still have to create something that people actually want. That's step one. You got to create something that you can break down into steps. Now, so example, I use something called the 7 gets, which is how this whole thing goes. It's first you get their attention, then you get their information, then you get them to buy, then you get them to stay, then you get them to buy again, then you get them to testify, and then you get them to demand. Okay, so that's 7 phases. So I could literally teach each phase. I could teach you how to get attention, which is top of funnel, depending on who's watching this at a later date. So I could teach you how to get attention. How to get people you don't know, or people who ain't thinking about you, or people who haven't thought about you, to now become your customers. So that's the attention phase. So we could teach you that. How to use social media, how you use your emails, how you, use your Facebook Lives, which is something I do teach. And if you want to do it on a one-on-one basis, because maybe you don't learn well in groups, make sure you go to growandrich.com. Can you really afford not to learn? Just be honest. I know you're saying, well, he's pitching. Yeah, I know I'm pitching. But I'm not pitching because I feel like pitching. I'm pitching because I think it's going to help you. But anyway, how to use your social media. Because now I got, SEO and all that stuff. I'm using all the buzzwords. And people are coming. But I ain't closing nobody. I'm not closing nobody. They go to the website. My web guy saying, look at all the people we got coming through. And it's like, yeah, but it's like I got some type of bug repellent or something. They hit the website and boom, they bounce back the other way. So then it's like, okay, well, how do we get their information? So that's the second of the 7 gets. How do we get information? How do we get an opt-in? Because we don't get an opt-in, we can't get a lead. And if we don't have a lead, then it won't lead to a sale. Because a follower that you cannot contact is not a lead. A view that you don't know who the person is and they won't talk to you is not a lead. A lead is somebody you can actually talk to, build up rapport with, put yourself in a position to help them identify that you're something that could help them achieve their goals. That's a lead. But if they go to the website and there's nothing there that makes them want to either A, buy something, or B, leave their information so that you could then follow up with them later, like, with a free 30. Free 30 with somebody who's generated, upwards of 8 figures for clients at this point. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want that? But anyway, Or maybe a lead generator, like you go to Grown and Rich, and if you sign up, you get retire early off one property, which is an ebook written by myself and multimillionaire real estate mogul Dwayne Ransford. Who wouldn't want to know how to retire off one property? But in order to get the free ebook, guess what you got to do? You got to send me your email address. Now, does that mean I'm going to spam you with a bunch of emails? No. What it does mean is if I'm running a sale or I'm running a special or I got something going on that I think you might be interested in, or I got a new blog that's coming out that you could use to raise your, amount of revenue coming in, you could use to put yourself in a position to get bigger lines of credit. You could use yourself just to shoot up the rankings for, people who are going to get grants. Because again, if you got money, people usually want to give you money. So again, you could use it for all those things. Plus, create enough capital to hire people so that you don't become a business owner / operator. You just become a business owner. So business owner, somebody out here playing golf, somebody spending time with the kids, somebody taking vacations, and their money still making money. Even when you sleeping, your money make money. The people who own Ford are not on the line. People who own the Mavericks are not shooting jumpers. So when you become a real business owner, you shouldn't really be touching the business. If you were, in the drug trade, you wouldn't be touching the dope. I know that's probably not the best analogy, but for some people watching, that makes more sense. So that's why I did it. Got a little bit of a sniffle. Sorry, guys. But again, we're talking how to get more with less. So now I got their information. Now I got to get them to buy. So you get them to buy. Cool. That's the one sale. So now here's where the rubber meets the road. Here's where the good run away from the bad, and where the great go get lost in the land of riches. After that first sale, now what have you set up for them to get the second sale? Give you an example. I had a client very early on who did these webinars. Did these great webinars. But at the end of them, it was over. And they were like, well, man, we got the money for this. And it's like, okay. But now if you help them get started, create a fast start fast program, because they don't really want the information. They want to be in the business. So now we create this fast start fast program. So we take the people from the webinar and we funnel them into a coaching system, which is going to then help them get what they want, which is to be in that particular industry. They got the information. Information is only so good because you still got to execute it. And then they got an opportunity for somebody to say, hey, I'm actually going to help you set this stuff up. Help you get your LLC, help you get your DOG or EE or FYK or whatever you need to get, so that you can actually be doing this and making money from it and seeing a return on your investment in 90 days. So we could go from a webinar to a business owner in 90 days. Now, here's the thing with that, and here's where, my people at home are like, well, but then people be scamming. Okay. It is your responsibility to make sure you don't get scammed. Now, what I mean when I say it's your responsibility to make sure you don't get scammed, one, got to do your freaking research, man. Don't just be giving these people your money, which is why referrals work so well, because good people are hard to find. And when people find good people, they usually refer those people to other people. So if you're a good, upstanding business owner, like I know you are at home, you stand a better chance with referrals than you do with strangers, because strangers don't trust. Referrals, trust levels 1,000 times higher. But anyway, moving on. So now you got to work your program, because most of the time what happens is the problem becomes with division of labor. You bought a program and you thought, okay, cool, I bought the program, I read the material, I'm supposed to be rich now, right? No. There's the consumption of the information, And then there is the application and mastery of said information. Yeah. So, yeah, I could tell you what to do all day long. But if you ever actually go out there and get the reps, you'll never be good at it. And now I'm speaking from experience. I've had people who will teach me how to write copy, teach me how to do marketing, teach me how to get more customers. And then it's like, okay, cool, I'll show you how to do it. And then it comes back to, okay, well, did you do it today? No. Okay, how many times have you done it this week? Once. Okay, so if it requires that you do it 3 times a day, 6 days a week, and you did it once this week, was the program a scam? Or were you just not diligent enough to do the thing necessary to get the result that you want? Because see, if you do it 6 times, if you do it 6 days a week, 3 times a day, now you got 18 tries. Okay. If you got 18 tries, you get lucky sometimes. Like I look at videos that I do and the clips that I shoot, and it's like some of them get thousands of views, some of them don't. But if I never do any, I don't get thousands of views for any of them. Number one. Number two, the fact that they're still being played, the fact that they're still in rotation, the fact that people are still watching them, sharing them, liking them, commenting on them, means that they're working even when I'm not. So not only are you shorting yourself on opportunities, because the more opportunities you got, the better your chance to get lucky, and one of them hit, you're shorting yourself on getting better at it because you have no information to go on to say whether or not it's good or bad. And you have no practice. So you got no practice. So that means you're forgetting the things that you did learn, and you're not getting any better. So instead of going this way, you're going this way. So if you're not practicing the thing, if you're not giving it an opportunity for people to see it, how do you expect to make money at it? But that's just a sidebar. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. You got them. Now you got to figure out how to keep them. Now people going to say, well, this sales funnel, that ain't nothing but a sales funnel. But here's the thing about sales funnels. Just because you know what they are don't mean you can execute them. So now you really have to figure out what are things that are essential to them reaching their goal other than the actual task. Now, step by step is a great way to keep clients longer. Because if you have some type of group where people can come and sit in and ask questions and have you review their work on a regular basis, you got people who come in and they tell you about their sales, and you can talk about how to adjust your sales strategies and things of that nature. Maybe I should do that. Look for that. That's coming real soon. Anyway, but the point that I'm making is, if there's something ongoing, quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly, that is going to help the goal that your customers are trying to achieve, then you can get more sales for it. Consuela just dumped in. Shout out to Consuela. What she does can be seasonal. So if she gets a customer for 4th of July, go over to Consuela's page. She does these beautiful door decors that I think you'll love. But let's just say Consuela has the 4th of July. Now that's going to be stars and bars. Going to be a real floral festive thing that might be holiday related. But we're not going to have the same one up for Thanksgiving. Not going to have the same one up for Christmas. The one for Christmas might have baby Jesus on it. Don't know, who you serve, but the one for Christmas might have baby Jesus on it. But it ain't going to be the same one from the 4th of July. Somebody's birthday might come up and you might want to honor them with some door decor. That's not going to be the same one as the 4th of July. So if I was Consuela, I'd say, hey, man, let me get your information. Let me get, everybody's birthday so that when the birthdays are coming up, I can give you a birthday special. It normally costs $50, but, for your birthday, it's only $25. You know, or you could pay for the whole year, and I'll send you one every month. Every time the seasons change, I'll send you one. You know, so now I could take one customer, and if I'm giving them one every quarter, that's 4 sales, not one. You know, if I'm doing something for their birthday, I'm doing something for grandma's birthday, I'm doing something for graduation, that's 3 more sales. And more than likely, all those people who come through their door for those holidays, because, people who do decor usually like to entertain, right? Now, some of those people are going to say, oh, that's beautiful. Where'd you get it from? More money, more money, more money. You know, but again, did I get any more customers? Not really, because those all came from that one tree. You start sounding like Teddy Riley. I got Xander Man, I got Mo D, I got Deja, and my homeboys guy. One producer, whole bunch of hits. Same thing. But now imagine if you got that person to continue to buy, because if you got that person to continue to buy, then that lengthens the amount of exposure people have to your product. There are going to be people who looking at you right now who might not be ready. Because as we say, problems come in cycles. So let's just say they're not ready right now, but they keep seeing the great work you're doing for other people. Eventually, they're going to be ready. And you say, well, how do I let them know I'm doing great work? How do I leverage the customers I have to get this thing to go straight up, to get my vertical on? Well, you do a thing called testimonials. You celebrate and you elevate. If you have a customer who is doing well, you congratulate them. You put a billboard up. You put a sign up. No different than employee of the month, except you make them customer of the month. So imagine if you just did customer of the month every month, and you celebrated your customers, and you did videos with them, and you did podcasts with them, and you just held them up like a beautiful baby boy. How many other people they'd pull in? How many other people they draw to you? Biblically it says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men. So imagine if you could get that cracking for your business. What would that do? How would that help you? What would that allow you to be 5, 6, 7 years from now? Beautiful strategy that came out of COVID. Literally, when they first started shutting stores down, here's what I did, and here's how it helped my customers. Okay, so you say, well, what do? When things go bad? When things go bad, you build a wall around your customers. You build a wall around them. Why? Because when it got bad, everybody was scrambling trying to get customers. Everybody was offering customers deals. And it's like, oh, this is hella competitive. What do I do? Okay, well, you build a wall around your customers. You reach out to them. You send them more emails than anybody else. You make better offers than everybody else. And one of the things that I was doing is I was like, hey, man, even if you got to deliver the stuff, you deliver it. If you got to go to the house and pick the people up and bring them to the place, that's what you do. But whatever you do, you keep them away from your competition. Yeah. If they don't have a car, they need to sign that paperwork. You send a car service for them. Why? Because the frustration might make them look around. Like, well, we can't even get out, and then maybe we find somebody that come to the house. No. We ain't going to do no coming to the house. We going to send the car service for you, and then you're going to come, and you're going to sign these papers. Now, you might spend $100 on the car service, but if $100 on the car service gives you a customer that you can then continue to keep, who keeps bringing customers, who keeps bringing money, now you're looking at spending $100 for $100,000 worth of sales over the next 5 years. It's a hell of an investment. Put a dollar in, got $1,000 out. And it worked during COVID, because I was like, man, don't let these folks at the big chains beat you to the customers, because they were still trying to figure it out, and they were trying to, turn the big iceberg ship, the big submarine around, trying to figure out how to get to it. But as a small business owner, you have a real cool advantage, meaning that you can make a decision while you're watching this video and get off the the line or the phone or whatever you're watching me on, and put it into practice immediately. You know, today we're gonna start pulling up on people and washing the car at their house. You call your guys, they bring the truck around, and out you go. A big company, they got to go to legal, they got to have a meeting, they got to look at all the people in their supply chain, and they can't make that change immediately. But you can. And I know COVID's over, thank God. But the principle still applies. Do everything you can to keep your clients, and away from everybody else. Anticipate their needs. You know, another example, working with a client. Okay. We knew that this program that we were running worked really well. But the one thing that kept the program from working as well as it could is that there was a certain skill that each and every one of those people who took the class needed. Okay. So what we did is we created a separate program to specifically focus on that one skill. Know what made that so dope? Here's what made it so dope. And I'm feeling like using the word dope. So this is what made that so dope. Okay. Not only did it help the customers that we had currently in the pipeline who are currently taking the course, we were then able to go back and reach out to all of the people who had ever taken the course who were not experiencing the success that they wanted to experience and say, hey, here's probably why you're not doing as well as you should. Okay. Now, if you'd like to get better at this specific skill, because if you do, what it's going to unlock for you is the opportunity to make significantly more money. Which was a fact. It wasn't cap. It was a real fact. So now, instead of having 100 people in the class, we had 300 people in the class. Okay. And 200 of those people were people who'd already done business with us. Didn't get any new customers, but got new money. And people are like, well, why do you always talk about sales? Well, here's the thing. As a marketer, sales and marketing go hand in hand. And the reason they go hand in hand is because you need them. Where there's no wealth without a wealth transfer. You need sales. You need sales to hire people. You need sales to walk into a bank and get a line of credit. You need sales to qualify for the majority of these loans and small business grants because you got to prove that you're a real business. You know, again, you need sales to pay your people. You need sales to pay yourself. You need sales to protect your family from poverty. You know, but if you're using a marketer who doesn't know how to sell and has never sold anything and never had to retain customers or create strategies to retain customers, you're using the wrong thing. You know, it's like you're trying to put a circle in a square. You know, you're trying to use a screwdriver as a hammer. Marketing and sales go hand in hand, and your marketing guy needs to have some sales experience. Again, before I did this, I was a retention specialist. Okay. Meaning that the profits came because we kept the customers longer. And because we kept them longer and kept them buying longer, they were also now able to be marketing tools for us in the form of testimonials longer. It's like the NBA. Right now, the NBA is using LeBron James to market the NBA. Okay. He's been their marketing tool for 20 plus years, ever since he was in high school. And you know what? They figured out a way to add on to that by now talking about his kid. Yeah. So if you have a good testimonial and the person is still benefiting from the work that you've done, look at how many more eyeballs it can draw over time. You know, so now we got high school Bronny. Ooh, he coming to the league. Now we got Bronny who's in the league. Yeah. Lengthens the cycle of people that you can attract with your star player. or your star client or your star customer. You know, cool if you can get that over time. Shout out to LaJuan Clemens. The other day, um, LaJuan, shouted me out during an interview with Atia Muhammad. Shout out to Atia as well. And he was like, man, shout out to Sadon Long, because he won an Emmy. And he was saying that was a time when I was helpful to him and put together the plan that ultimately led him down the road that led him to getting an Emmy. He didn't win that Emmy this year. He won an Emmy a couple years ago. But my name's still out there because of it. You want to be able to get as much out of each and every client as possible. To get referrals from clients years afterwards. He'd always tell the story about a client I had in 21 that was doing so well that when somebody saw him in 22, was like, well, man, I want to be like you. How do I get where you're going? And they say, well, you need to call Sadon Long. So now I didn't even find out about the person because they were in my DMs and I wasn't checking my DMs that often back then. But then I found a customer. They hit me in February. I didn't find them till June. But, shout out to Tammy. She said I was the guy. So he was like, Tammy says you're the guy, so I ain't going with nobody else. I'll just wait for you to get back with me. So when I got back with him, it was 4 months later. Not that I recommend you wait 4 months to get back to somebody, but it was 4 months later. He didn't go nowhere else. He didn't look for nobody else. He didn't try to contact nobody else. He sat around and waited on me. Why? Because the person that he admired said that he should. Now, did it help him? Absolutely helped him. Probably to the tune of 1.8 year to date, maybe more. Lost count. But again, even after it's over with, the life of that customer still lives on because people see the benefit of what you've done for them. They see the things they've been able to accomplish. And if you got a good customer, that customer is going to refer you some other business. Show you how that works. Same customer got me some business with somebody else 5 years later, which then turned into that person getting me business with 2 more people who don't even know her. Okay. But because you are able to continue the life with that customer, you're able to still check in on them and maybe do a job for them or maybe sell them a new product or maybe sell them an update. Now, those customers are still bringing you customers because you're still interacting with them. Like I said with Consuela, it's like, man, there's no way that I would let a customer who bought from me once not buy from me twice. Go all the way back to being in retail. I'll give you another example of how this works. When I worked in department store, I was a department head. But my primary responsibility was shoes. And we had women who had rather large feet. So we would occasionally get in 11s and 12s in dress shoes. Beautiful dress shoes. And some of the dress shoes, they had a little handbag combo that come with it. Now, we didn't have that many 11s and 12s. So what would happen is I literally would be on the phone as soon as I got them. Hey, girl, got something for you. And I got a handbag for you. So she pull up, try them on. Oh, I love these. Let me get these. I'm like, I got them in another color. You want to see the other color? Absolutely. So now I got 2 pair of shoes, 2 handbags, plus we got to re-up all your cleaning, materials and your shoe bags and things like that. So we got that added on. Okay. And most people don't shop by themselves. So every time they're going to bring at least 1 or 2 homegirls with them. So now maybe the homegirl bought a pair of boots. Then she got some cleaners and stuff to go with her boots. So now, not only do we have the sale from the client, we got an add-on sale because they brought somebody with them. And sometimes they bring a completely different person. So maybe I got this person this time, and then I got somebody else the next time. And then you look up, and those people that they brought with them are now shopping by themselves. Or maybe they shopping with their daughter. Or maybe they're shopping with their girlfriends. Or maybe they're shopping with their husbands. See how easy it is once you start focusing on it. Yeah. But if you're spending all your time focused on new business, that as soon as your business comes in, you get the sale. Now you don't deal with them no more. You don't call them back them no more. You don't follow up with them no more. You don't have a step 2, step 3, step 4 for them. Now they back in the wind. And if somebody else gets them, as I always say, if somebody else gets your customer, they're not going to let them go. They're going to keep them, and they're going to keep them away from you. It's going to look like Fast and the Furious. You know, they're going to be throwing your customer around, and you're going to be chasing them, and you're never going to catch them. But if you keep them and you keep giving them a reason to buy, and you keep giving them things that they can use to further get closer to their goal, it'll allow you to work smarter, not harder. It'll allow you to have more money coming in with less work for it, which means that you don't have to hire as many people. It'll allow you to then go to the bank and sit in front of a creditor and say, here's what we're making. You know, talked to a client the other day. He's like, yeah, man, somebody trying to give me $150,000 worth of credit. But if he didn't have the sales and he wasn't coming into that bank dropping off deposits, and they weren't looking at his tax returns and his profits, would they still be trying to offer him that much money? You know, I mean, we talk about credit repair all the time, but the reality is, if I make $200,000, it's a lot easier to have $100,000 worth of credit. You know, because now I'm paying all my stuff off. I can make sure that when they look at my debt to income ratio, that it's high enough. There's so many things that having money allows you to get from creditors because they feel like you're a much better bet. Just saying. You know, if your business is in place, meaning that you have sales and profits and a list of customers that you can call on at any given moment to come out to an event, to buy a product, to support a vision or something that you're attached to, other companies are looking at that going, man, I want to buy into that. You know, I want to invest in that. So now people will come to you and say, hey, man, we can open up a location in my town, my city, because I see it's working in yours. So this sales success, man, unlocks so many things. You know, having a conversation, you know, with my guys over at Let's Design Your Site. Shout out to Dave. You know, we were talking about it. Like, man, you can expand with other people's money. Because you have the formula. You have the recipe. You got customers. You're keeping your customers. Your customers are bringing customers. People are happy with it. The testimonials are through the roof. Man, we want to open one in Atlanta. You know, you go to Atlanta, there's Harold's. You go to Texas, there's Harold's. You know, you go all over the country and you see chain restaurants. And what you find out, if you go back and you look at the very beginning, these chain restaurants used to be mom and pops. But it was working so doggone well that somebody else was like, hey, man, we want to get out. We want a McDonald's too. So, again, there's so many things that if you get the sales right and you get the retention right, that happens. You know, it's not just the profits that come from the life of that customer, the referrals that come from the life of that customer. It's that now you become this beautiful, wonderful story that people want to do business with, that people want to put on their TV shows. Because life is just an audition for something bigger. You know, your podcast is an audition for a television show. Your television show is an audition for a movie. You know, how do I know? Because I watched Country Wayne do it. Because I watched Issa Rae do it. I watched Lily C do it. You know, go from skits and vines, DC, Fly, do it. Skits and vines and shorts and clips to now live events, now movies. But the same thing works in business. You know, mom and pop. Now you go from mom and pop to multiple locations to now you go to a franchise. But it's hard to franchise something that nobody's buying. It's hard to franchise something that nobody's talking about positively. It's hard to franchise something that can't keep customers, that's constantly having to get new customers. You hear me talk about Pepsi all the time. Pepsi don't have to get new customers. Why? Because Pepsi's customers create new customers. If you were in the house that drank Pepsi, when you get grown, you're probably going to drink Pepsi. And your kids are probably going to drink Pepsi. When you go to a party, you're going to bring Pepsi. And now people who are in the party are probably going to drink a Pepsi because you brought Pepsi. Like, oh, these Pepsis are good. I used to drink Coke, but man, I kind of like this Pepsi now. Man, they got that cherry one out now. So again, you see it in other areas of life. Retention is important. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna show you how retention works in a negative way, but very profitable. I spent some time working in the juvenile. When I wanted to get away from retail, thought I wanted to do that for a living, but here we go. So they take your kid. They get your kid in the system. He 12. Okay, so now your kid threw a rock, broke a window, ran. Police charged him with vandalism, resisting arrest, and now they got your kid in the group home. Got to do 6 months. Okay, so now for that 6 months, they charging you to house the kid. You got to pay some of that money to keep that kid in there. But guess what? Once they got your kid, they ain't letting him go. They putting everything he do wrong on paperwork. They got his whole little jacket. Every time he said something slick, every time he didn't want to get up, every time he didn't clean his room, every time he stayed out, outside when he told everybody to come in, everything that they could possibly do to paint that kid as defiant. You know why they want to paint him as defiant? So they could keep him longer. So now you got a 12-year-old kid who been in the system for 6 years, and they let him go at 18 because they can't keep him any longer. So now you got 6 years of a kid going in and out of the juvenile system, 6 years of the system benefiting from him, and him not benefiting one bit. The lawyer fees, the housing fees, the money from the government to keep this kid fed, they benefiting from it. Then guess what? Because he don't have no social skills and he has an underdeveloped mind because he hasn't been out in the real world. Now he goes out into the real world and he struggles. And what does he do? He commits a crime. And now the judicial system got him again. So now you got a kid who got out of juvenile at 18, learned nothing while he was in juvenile, poor social skills, poor decision-making skills, poor critical thinking skills, who now commits another crime, who's right back in the system again. Recidivism is just another word for retention. So when you get in the system, you stuck. Now you're on parole, probation, or whatever. But you still got these papers, and when you go back, guess what? Now we're going to say you habitual. You're a repeat offender. We're going to keep you some more time. So you could have a kid who spent his whole life incarcerated. So now if the government sees you as something that they can use from the time you're in the 3rd grade, because that's when they start identifying you in the 3rd grade, as to whether or not, there's possibility that you're going to be a criminal or you're going to be a successful citizen, because, we're looking at your grades, reading skills, your IQ, things of that nature. And then we're saying, okay, here's the profile of somebody who more than likely is going to commit a crime. So we need to add some extra beds because we got a lot of kids who are going to be criminals. They study things like this. But with that being said, let's keep it a buck. They like, man, we could keep this person incarcerated and keep getting money for him for 30 years. 30 freaking years. You have prisons who have occupancy bonuses. Okay. So if they keep the population above 85%, they get money. There are states that if the prison occupancy drops below 85%, they got to pay the prison. So now, what's their incentive to let you go? So now we got child support warrants. We got people going to jail for traffic tickets. We got people going to jail for anything. Why? Because we got to keep the place full. Now, this isn't about me being, on my soapbox. This is just saying, let's look at how retention works when it works wrong. If we're incentivized to keep people locked up, then we're going to keep them locked up. Ain't going to be no parole. Ain't going to be no teaching them, a trade. Ain't going to be no allowing them to get a degree. Because that's going to lessen the chances of recidivism. Hypothetically speaking. But again, man, we're at the 50-minute mark. If you've been watching the whole way through, thank you. Again, go over to growingrich.com, man. If it's important enough to start a business, it's doggone sure important enough to figure out how to make your business grow and thrive. And if it ain't, then don't go over there. But if it means something to you, seriously, if it means something to you to be able to have a business that feeds your family, that can cover bills for mama and grandmamas when they need it, that can give you the life that you want so you don't have to punch your 9 to 5. That you don't have to have a boss, that you don't have to have somebody telling you whether or not you can get a raise or not get a raise, or telling you that, hey, your services no longer needed. If it means that much to you, go over to growingrich.com, man, free 30. We're going to look at it. We're going to talk about whatever opportunities you might have. And if anything in that conversation sparks something for you that you can then use to make money, you get to keep all that money. But if it ain't important enough to you, then go about your business. But for the people who it is important enough to, the people who do watch this thing all the way through, man, it's free. Why would you delay the opportunity to make money? Why would you take another month of losing, take another month of trying to figure it out when you could have figured it out and be getting the benefit of it? But as always, man, this your business, Big Bro Sadon Long, a.k.a. Most Dangerous Man in Marketing, a.k.a. Mr. Better Than Your 401k. Telling you have a lovely, beautiful, wonderful day. And, man, let's get to it because our families need us. Our people need us. This country needs us. Eviction rates above 50% since COVID. Average price of a house is 6 times the average income. So if you are a business owner, you need to get and keep a pipeline of well-paying customers coming through just so you can not have to deal with any of that. But as always, man, I love you. Have a wonderful day, and I'm out.